Hey, this is the Entertainment Advice Channel. What I want to talk about today is the topic of the problem with Christmas movies. So, when it comes to the problem with Christmas movies, the problem with Christmas movies is simply down to the fact that they are so predictable and it's not even funny, okay? Because if you've ever been like me, which pretty much everybody, has had the same experience, you realize that at this time of the year, especially if you're younger, or not, or just in general, when you were younger, whatever, you get the point. You are constantly bombarded with Christmas movies in school, okay? All the classic movies that they show you every single year and so on and so forth, okay? And one thing I can definitely say about those movies, the biggest problem with them, aside from the fact that they tend to take people out of their comfort zone, which is absolutely one of the worst things to do, which is the whole idea that presence is not what matters, which of course is a big thing. But aside from that, the biggest point of all is that they're so predictable. Okay, now when it comes to my channel, since it's the entertainment advice channel, and of course movies is a form of entertainment, the point of this video is to give up people a lesson on what not to do when you are doing a movie, specifically when you might be a part of a certain movie series or whatnot, or just in general, to sum it up, what movie series should not do if they want to continue staying, okay? And as the truth of the matter of what the point of this video is, it's a lesson, okay? And now to, of course, go back to elaborate on what I mean by as repetitive, is that when it comes to Christmas movies, it's the same story every single time. It's always the presents don't mean anything after the kid goes through a massive journey with him and his friends, or even by himself, whatever. You get the point. Whether he meets Santa Claus or he comes close to, of course, meeting Santa Claus, like he might meet some of his workers or something like that, or just whatever you can imagine, whether it could be Santa Claus themed or even just more realistic themed. The truth of the matter is, it's always the same freaking thing in the end of the day. When the kid actually has the ability to get the present that he made such a big fuss about, and a lot of times was being obnoxiously annoying to get the presents that he wanted, or just in general, maybe just who he is as a person. The kid was just being annoying, in all honesty. He finally gets it, and he says that he doesn't even care about it anymore because it is simply something, that he doesn't care for, because he actually appreciates the journey more than a destination, which in this case is getting the present, and I just have to say that is not how you really want to run a movie, let alone a movie series. But specifically, mainly, for people watching a video, if you're interested in making movies, which is the main, message to make, that's not how you make a movie, okay? Because when you make a movie, you want your movies to be unpredictable, okay? You want something original and different, okay? Even if your movie is sometimes might be, some of your movies, if you're a filmmaker, of course, might be predictable. You don't want all of them to be predictable. And for the whole Christmas movie franchise, like I was saying before, they're all predictable, okay? And it's just the same generic, boring trope you see all the time. It's always the presents don't mean anything in the end of the day. It's about the experience, like the journey that they went to get the presents, and of course, even of course, family and stuff, whatever, which is just boring because the audience are like, whenever they start watching the movie, they're like, okay, we already know where this is gonna go. So there's no element of surprise, and it makes it feel like even if you make a bunch of different movies, it's literally the same exact movie, which is not something you want, in honesty. So that's the lesson to learn here from this video, of course. Okay, so when you're making movies or something, if you're a filmmaker or you're part of maybe a certain type of movie that's being made, like a movie series with other filmmakers, don't do what Christmas movies do because they're all the same. It's actually kind of creepy though. It's not even like, it's like 90-95%. It's like 99%, if not more. It's the same story. The presents don't mean anything. It's it's about it's about the friends we made along the way or whatever else. The main point is that the presents are don't mean anything, which is so stupid because you want to obviously change up the narrative, from time to time, but it's the same exact thing, and that's why it's so freaking boring, and that's why no one really cares anymore. Well, I wouldn't say no one cares anymore, but it's just generic, and everyone kind of makes fun of Christmas movies, to be quite blunt and honest with you. Okay, just overused, and it's tiresome and just lame at this point. Everyone already knows where it's gonna go, and it hasn't even changed across the decades. You can watch Christmas movies from the 1970s, 1980s, 1990s, 2000s. It's the exact same thing, all the way to, of course, now. You know, it's the same thing, and it's just become an overused trope, and people like to make fun of it a lot. So that's the truth of the matter. Okay, so the main message of this video is that if you're making movies in whatever way, you know, whether it's on your own, like you're a filmmaker just making movies on your own, or you're maybe a part of a certain, group of people who make movie series and stuff, do not be repetitive because then it gets tiresome and it makes people not as willing to enjoy the movies. Okay, so that's my my main message of this video. Okay, now the other message that, of course, goes unnoticed. Okay, of course, that I also briefly mentioned for the beginning of this video is the other problem with it is when it comes to the message of your presents don't mean anything aside from, of course, it being repetitive, is simply due to the fact that, of course, like I even got at also as well for my earlier videos this week, is that when people watch a movie, okay, as I know you're smart enough to know, people watch a movie because they want to feel comfortable. People want to watch a movie because they want to put their mind in a different world, okay? To relieve stress, not something that makes them feel miserable, because they feel called out by it. Because let's be honest, okay? Most of us, specifically when we're younger, we want our presents, okay? But if you're going to make a movie that says, okay, presents are not everything, which is kind of dumb because the point of a movie is entertainment. It's not supposed to have a message like that, of course. That of course is going to make people feel, you know, that's that's going to cause controversy. Okay, like that. Okay, the truth of the matter is, as I was saying before, when we were all kids, we all wanted our presents. Okay, and let's keep it real. Most of us, you know, most of us, if we didn't get our presents when we were teenagers of like 5 and maybe 12, we probably would have cried. Most of us, okay, if anything, okay? Maybe not me, of course not me, but most people would. Most people would, and I'm not judging here at all because, of course, you're a little kid, like big whoop, but most of us would have cried, okay? So why the hell do I want to watch something that is just gonna, make me feel uncomfortable for wanting my presents, specifically if I didn't do anything wrong. Besides, the whole point of Christmas, anyway, is pretty much to get presents. So to put your time and energy into saying the presents is not everything is just so stupid, for that matter, okay? Because that's the main theme of what makes Christmas special. It's the presents. There's other things, yes, I admit that that's important about Christmas, but the main thing, of course, is the presents, specifically, of course, if you are behaving well, because of course, according to, of course, a Christmas lore, the fictional Christmas lore, of course, Santa Claus, okay, if you don't behave well, you're going to get cold instead of your present. Isn't that already bad enough? Why do I have to be told, okay, now I'm getting my present, like from the perspective of the movie, and oh well, you shouldn't care for the presents. It's about the journey or something because presents are not everything. Like that's so dumb, in honesty. Let alone the fact that when people watch a movie, the main point here for this secondary point is people want to feel comfortable, not feel bad. And that's one of the biggest problems a lot of movies make is that they put these messages in them, which sometimes messages can be good, but some messages are obviously very conflicting. And this is the type of thing that's very conflicting. if anything, when it comes to a message, okay? That's the truth of the matter, what I'm trying to get across here. So, in short, that is a problem with Christmas movies, okay? Um, the main point for this video is that they're repetitive. You know, they have the same plot line, which makes them predictable and makes it less likely that people enjoy them. So that's the truth of the problem with Christmas movies, the main problem. And the other problem, of course, that I got a little bit is that when people watch movies, you know, um, they want to not be taken out of their comfort zone. They just want to just watch a movie without having to be bombarded with negative messages. Because if it's like that, then why not just not watch the movie anyway? So that's the truth of Christmas movies and why they suck. Okay. So anyway, this is my video. This is all to say, and simply put it, I'm out.